Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, Lord.
When it was evening, the disciples of Jesus went down to the sea, embarked in a boat, and went across the sea to Capernaum. It had already grown dark, and Jesus had not yet come to them. The sea was stirred up because a strong wind was blowing. When they had rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea and coming near the boat, and they began to be afraid. But he said to them, "It is I, do not be afraid." They wanted to take him into the boat, but the boat immediately arrived at the shore to which they were heading. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Bulahang weekend ganatong tanan. Today's Gospel reading, which is actually Jesus walking on water, is found in all 4 Gospel accounts: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Our version is John's Gospel. Now, every event, everything where this happened is always related after the feeding of the 5,000. And that is always a constant tradition that we receive. From the feeding of the 5,000 and Jesus walking on the water. While the feeding of the 5,000 is a multiplication of bread, a miracle, which is very much based on nature, today's gospel reading and the walking of Jesus on the water is a miracle against the law of nature, because nobody can actually walk on water except for God. Or some people would even say some animals can actually walk or run on water. But what is the significant message of this Jesus walking on the water? It actually goes back to the Old Testament theme of God overpowering the force of evil. Because the water or the deep waters always are related to the evil influence or the power of evil. And so Jesus walking on top of the evil forces is actually his triumph. And this triumph is very significant, not only because of the fact that he showed his disciples how powerful or how supreme he is, but in the Gospel of St. John, it is an interesting thing to note. Towards the end of the Gospel reading, it says they wanted to take him into the boat, but the boat immediately arrived at the shore. In other words, Jesus continued walking when he started walking from the other side to the end. And this is one event that we have to take into account, because it is in deep waters and when we are in trouble that the Lord gets out of the boat. And the boat, as traditionally signified being the church, that is the time when the Lord is outside caring for us, not within us, not among us, not within. But this is the time that Jesus would be guiding the church in the roughest of ways, in the waves and of the oceans, and he leads it, he directs it to the seashore. And this particular image is always a significant entry point into the resurrection of the Lord, because he has already conquered death. He is life himself. And as members of the church, we continue our journey, and we do need him to guide us, even somehow even to carry us when needed. Now, I always connect this with that very popular song, no? The narration of the song that Jesus is walking. There were 2 sets of footprints at the end, while at the beginning there were 2 sets of footprints. Now at the end, the singer or the author says, why is it that there is only 1 set of footprints? And the answer is, my child, it is then when you see 1 set of footprints that I am carrying you. This is taken from the song Footprints in the Sand. And this is basically what the Lord does. He carries us when needed. And so we have only to keep our faith and continue our journey, because He is not just walking among us and with us. And as He said yesterday in the gospel, He is the way, He is the truth, and He is our life. Amen.